I mean, it's not like it's one of those things that it's like I'm fucking it up. I obviously got it figured out. It was actually Facebook not pulling the thing over, which is irritating.
I don't understand why it would we would have the call set up and then when we click go live now
it wouldn't pull up. That don't make no sense to me. All right, everybody, welcome back to All in a Day's Work. My name is Trip, and that's Lucas. I'm so sorry about the earlier streams that happened. I don't know why Facebook wouldn't allow Ellie to come live with us on the video, but we did want to say we're going to work on it. We're going to fix it, and we're going to get her on there. But to announce what's going on and why we were so apt on getting her out there to meet you guys was because Ellie is going to be part of the All in a Day's Work team moving forward, which is awesome. So we're going to have another addition to the All in a Day's Work team.
Absolutely.
She's going to be, she's active duty Marine. So thank you for your service, Ellie. It's, it's tremendous thing that you're doing here.
Absolutely. And this is the first member of our team that is out of our current state of residence. So for us, this is an absolute big deal. All in a Day's Work is growing. We're doing our thing. We're growing. Thank you guys for everybody, for all your likes, your supports, for sharing the videos, liking the posts. Thank you guys so much. It goes without saying that we appreciate everything that you guys are doing to help our community grow.
Absolutely. And again, with that being said, please continue to share, the videos, let people know about us.
Absolutely.
This is turned from more than just a fucking couple of goofy guys podcasting to not really a movement, but an organization. This is an organization now.
It's a movement, bro.
Well, I don't want to say it's a movement. People get labeled as terrorists and shit for movements and stuff lately, so I don't want to. I don't want to get into all that. You know what I mean? So, but on the real, we want to thank every single one of you for helping us become what this is and continuing to grow with us.
Yes, absolutely.
We're not professionals in the tech world, so this is still new. Trying to figure it out. People make it look a lot easier than it is, and
ain't that the truth?
we just want to again thank you guys for the tremendous amount of support.
And Jeremy, yes, his third time's a charm, so we're gonna get this right.
Whatever, Jeremy.
So again, like Anthony said, appreciate you guys, all your support, all that stuff, and we got big plans. Like he said, we're moving in a big way.
What can I see comments now? What's up with my comments, bro?
Like he said, we got things going on. We got big things coming. And we got, like I said, we got big plans coming, and we're gonna make some things work. And like I said, we're expanding. We're reaching out to different states. We want to make this All in a Day's Work a global sensation.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the idea is be the voice for the veterans.
Absolutely.
That's out there.
Absolutely, right? That's how this thing started with both veterans. We want to get veterans' voices out there, especially the older generation that came, the Vietnam veterans, the ones that came before us, the people that came back home and then fell by the wayside. The veterans out there that did their thing and then got forgotten or got unappreciated.
I wouldn't necessarily say forgotten, but I mean, and in a real sense, they kind of did.
Exactly. Like how many times have we heard stories about veterans dying waiting for health care? And I know we talked about this last week, right? But
I mean, I'm close to being one of them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just now going to be able to have my motherfucking procedure, and I went to the hospital throwing up blood in fucking December 31st. You know what I'm saying? So,
and for those of you that don't know that might be joining this, that are just now watching this, that are brand new followers, keep your thoughts and prayers out for Anthony. He goes in for a big operation the end of this month, and,
you're just going to put my business out there. Huh?
You put it out there the other day, so.
I didn't say what was happening. I just
all I
said
was an operation, bro.
Something was going to happen.
All I said was an operation. All right, anyway, so he's got some big stuff, some big medical things coming up, so keep him in your thoughts, keep him in your prayers. If you know him personally, reach out, let him know that you care, that you're thinking about him, all right? well, we're all in this together. You know, obviously we're different races. We share the same brotherhood. We're both in the military. Doesn't matter what branch you're in. Doesn't matter where you're at, when you served. All right, we're all brothers. We're all Americans at the very least, and we're all here to be supporting each other.
Well, so, I appreciate that, man. Thank you for that. Yeah, we all know there's issues with the VA. I mean, that's the first example for what socialized healthcare would look like. You're going to have longer wait periods.
Absolutely.
So, I went in for emergency on December 31st, and here we are. My procedure's finally going to be happening on April 30th, which is ridiculous because I've had pretty much 3.5 other episodes since the time I went to the hospital, which has gotten me worried because any one of those times it could be the last time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean, with the amount of blood loss and things like that. So it sucks because each time I go to the hospital, it's like, okay, well, we know there's a problem, but we're not specialized in this field. You're going to have to go see this special doctor to take care of that, right? So it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I get that. However, we don't have one here at this time. We have to set you up with an appointment. Well, and I don't want to be political, but while Trump was in office, and I don't know if this had changed or not, but while he was in office, if you had to wait a certain amount of time that was like too long, they would just send you to outside care and get you an appointment like that. And this isn't the case, and I'm kind of upset about it. I don't know if that it was policy changed or what, but for what I need to have happen, I'm not able to get the care that I need until 4 months later, which is kind of ridiculous in my opinion.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I'm of the opinion, I don't think I'm alone in this, that if you serve this country in that capacity, that you should just.
Sorry, everybody.
Yes,
we're gonna throw that on there.
That you should be afforded those rights of health care and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of sad, but I'm able to appreciate the idea. Fuck, this shit ain't working either. Fucking, god damn it. Fucking. All right, so I'm able to appreciate the small things and whatnot that were actually, the times that I have, because every day is pretty much a miracle, and the amount of blood that was lost the first few times it's kind of scary. When you wake up and you're throwing up blood that's coming out and you're not sure what the hell the cause is, and then you find out it's because of the military and the stuff that they force you to do and medicines to take. I would feel like they kind of have like a duty to kind of fix me. You know what I mean? I'm only 30 years old, so I would feel like I'm young enough to actually get the help that I need. But yeah, it is what it is. I do have like TRICARE, but I don't have a primary care physician, and it would take longer for me to get the referral through TRICARE and all that. By the time, I'd still be waiting about the same amount of time.
Which is absolutely ridiculous. And this is just, for everybody out there, this is just one story.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's thousands of stories out there with
exactly.
This,
and when you hear stories about just veterans waiting months on end for health care, and then doing phone screenings, and I know that's just because of COVID, phone screenings for stuff that should be done in person. It's ridiculous.
Well, the thing with me is, I don't feel like I should have to wait just as long for a phone appointment as I should for an actual walk-in appointment. Absolutely. That doesn't make any sense to me.
If it takes you longer to wait for the appointment than to actually have the phone interview, then there's an issue.
Well, but that's what's happening. That's what we're seeing today.
Absolutely.
I don't know why I can't see your comments on the computer, guys, so I apologize.
I got it right here if you want to.
You can respond to them today, I guess.
I guess so.
But, yeah, it's kind of crazy how the idea that you have to wait, a month, 2 months to get a phone appointment or virtual appointment is what they're doing. That's the same kind of time you would have been waiting for an actual walk-in appointment.
And in your particular case, these are appointments that should be held in person. For the stuff that you got going on.
Thank you. You know what I mean? A doctor needs to feel and see exactly what's going on. I don't know why it's being done this way. Like I said, I don't know where the change was or the shift was. but it's definitely there and it's irritating.
Absolutely.
However, finally, April 30th, I get my procedure done, and hopefully it all works for the best. It's pretty much either they go in there and they clean up what's wrong, and I'm good to go, or
well, we're gonna stay.
We're
gonna stay thinking about the good side and what is gonna happen, because we like to be positive over here.
You like to be positive over here.
Well, somebody's got to do it, man.
I mean, I've had a rough 2.5 years. So.
Yeah, I've been here with you every step of the way.
I know, man. It's, and I'm not trying to get any pity from anybody.
No,
it's
absolutely.
I've had a really rough, really rough time.
Yeah, so. And you know what? That's why we got to stay positive, because when you give into negative emotions, man, it's called the law of attraction. When you feed into negativity, it just piles up and it keeps that train going.
Is that a fact?
Yeah. It's a law for a reason.
Yeah, it kind of brings into the idea of misery loves company, doesn't it?
Yeah, facts.
So with that idea and that set in mind, we have. It's easier for us to focus and deal with the negative emotions and things that come on, and it's hard, especially in my case, it's extremely hard to see the positive things that are happening.
Yeah,
or when it does happen, you just don't believe it, because it's like, all right, well, that's happening. That means something else is going to happen that's even worse.
Yeah, it's like you get that one ray of sunshine, and you're like, all right, now what's going
to happen now? How's
this going to mess up?
How's it really going to be?
In my opinion, everything passes in time, right? So good times pass just like bad times pass, right? So at the end of the day, we just got to cherish the good times. Right, no matter how much time you have in those good times, and then just try and bear through the bad times.
I agree with cherishing the good times. The hardest part for me is identifying and understanding that this is the good time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and it's one thing.
And I'm sure that happens with a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's one thing to always strive for better. That's when you just got to be grateful. I mean, I know you're a very, very gracious person. You're a person that likes to give.
Don't be buttering me up, man. What do you want, man?
I'm serious. You got a house, a job you may not like, but it pays the bills, right? And as much as I don't like to say it pays the bills. It's a job. And in this current time period, it's not a lot of people can. There's a lot of people that's unemployed.
I'm gonna be honest with you. There used to be a point with doing what we do. Yeah. I was kind of like, damn, this is where I'm at with my life, and I get those moments still. However, at this point in my life, you know what? Shit, I'm getting paid a lot more money than most people do to do a very minimal amount. Yeah. Not that we don't do hard work, but a minimal amount of work on day in, day out that you're not gonna really find that elsewhere.
Yeah, and that's one of the good things about our job. We get paid really well to do not a whole lot.
We get paid decent. Yeah, because the shit that we do. Well, yeah. We don't get paid not nearly enough for.
But that's a different story.
We're not ready to talk about that right now.
So look, as I was finished saying before you
interrupted you.
Yeah.
Well, you gonna talk or you gonna read?
No, I'm sorry. I was reading Jeremy's comment saying I was fluffing you up for the people out there that don't know you. So
whatever, Jeremy.
So you a place to live. You got beautiful, amazing kids, right?
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, man.
Some of the better behaved kids that I've seen in a long time. To be honest,
no, man. Have you seen Jasmine lately? She been a little grumpy.
I don't know. I haven't seen Jasmine lately, but anyway,
she's 5.5 going on 10 with that attitude of she knows she's got it. So.
Well, I mean, she got you wrapped around her finger.
Hey, man, why you gotta put my business out there like that? My daughter, that's my daughter, man. You know what I'm saying? That's my little princess. But you know what, though? Their daddy's little girls, and I would do whatever for them.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, I still try to discipline them with, respect and manners, and
of course
ensuring that they are always going to do the right thing.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that. So it's like, you spare the rod, you spoil the child. Children got to get disciplined. It starts in the house. I'm a firm believer of that.
Beat your kids. It helps.
Know the limits.
Know the limits, but beat your kids. It helps.
So like as I was saying again, amazing kids. House. I don't want to put too much of your business out there, but you got big things coming for you. Even with this operation coming up, you got a lot to look forward to.
Providing I make it through, right?
Right, and you're going to positivity, man. And for everybody out there going through things. you got to stay positive, because what's left for you if you don't, right? Yeah. On retrospect, like thinking back on it, like if you're not positive, then your life is it's just going to be all negative, right? If you don't hunt those good things. And
hunt the good stuff.
I hate the military, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm grateful for the time.
Wait, hold on. Let me finish. Whoa. That's a harsh comment to sit there and say.
I hate the military for what it does to people.
Okay.
All right. But I'm grateful for being in, because in retrospect, it taught me a lot, right? As far as being an adult, being mature, it matured me, it allowed me time to grow as a person.
But the idea of what it does to you and how much little effort is really put into rehabilitating and
not even as far as physicality goes.
No, I'm not talking physical. I'm talking mental.
Yeah, and that's a key thing in it, right? It'll screw you up and then leave you go. Like how many families are lost because, as much as the military likes to say it, it's not a family-friendly place.
Yeah,
right.
No, it's not. But then you have the one hand. Well, you knew what you signed up for, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I hate when people say that.
Absolutely,
that shit bothers me to my core. And it's like, yeah, I did volunteer. I did do this. That doesn't mean that I deserve to suffer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and then like no person deserves to suffer, and you take on injuries and things like that, mental and physical.
Yeah, and like I said, looking back on it, right? If you're not staying positive, if you're not trying to at least see the good things that you have going on all around you, right? Then it's all going to be negative, right? And then it's going to be miserable. So if everything around you is negative, at least be the positive thing, right? Yeah. Right? And it's hard. It's very hard. In my opinion, it's one of the hardest things out there is to be positive and to smile, even when nothing around you is telling you have a reason to smile.
Let me ask you something real quick.
Yeah.
How do you feel about like the Army? Because I know we were only Army. And how do you feel about the MRT program that they had in the Army? On an honest opinion.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I went through in a multi-stage class or whatever.
Well, no. I mean, there is multiple steps in different classes and stuff. But
I went through a very basic MRT, and for those of you that don't know, it's military resiliency training.
Master resiliency
whatever,
training.
Right? Master whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So it teaches you to be positive, to be resilient, to not break, so to speak, right?
In a nutshell.
Yeah, and like I said, I went to a very basic where I didn't really listen to it, to be honest with you. This is all stuff that I learned after I got out of the military. Okay. Because for me, when I got out, that's when all my life crap happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Single, no kids, never married, didn't go through a divorce, but that's when all my crap started.
Yeah.
And that's when I was very fortunate. I had a lot of older gentlemen around me that I got to know, and they was like, hey, this is what you need to do to be happy. This is what you need to do this.
Try to move forward.
They took me up under their wing and kind of mentored me and tried to ingrain in me that mindset that's going to help me through life when life gets hard.
Yeah.
Right. And I was very fortunate in that aspect.
I think having a mentor, whether it's a professional or personal mentor in your life, is needed.
Absolutely.
It's hard to reach out for help, and it's hard to say, hey, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of need a guide. Nobody wants to have someone who hold their hand and walk them through life. Not that they need to be, their hand held, but to have a guide to kind of help you through somebody else's experience to help you get through yours. And it's kind of been lost in today. You because reaching out for help or having someone hold your hand through life is looked at as you're weak, and that's wrong.
Exactly, and it is looked at like you're weak, and that's when we need to get away from it. Just like we need to get away from mental illness as a weakness.
Well, I want to, if you don't, I want to touch on that. So I brought up the MRT program that the Army has, right? One of which I want to kind of bring some light to it. So I went through the actual full course, Master Resiliency Trainer. So I got the skill identifier while I was still in the Army active duty. Okay, so I was the one that was actually teaching the classes, and what I learned was it is not about the skills and things that they're teaching you. Those are tremendous skills for every person to learn, and they can take those skills in their personal and in their professional lives. These are things that are tremendous. There are 14 different skills that you can learn, but they teach 12. It's supposed to be taught one skill every month. You're supposed to have one class a month with your unit, which doesn't happen typically. It's like, hey, we got to check this block, right? Everybody pile in, sign in. We're going to talk about hunt the good stuff because it's the shortest class and get the fuck out of there. Mm-hmm. That's what typically happens. When you have a good instructor that goes through... Hold on a second. Hey!
Yo, he's not yelling at anybody. He's yelling at the dogs. All right.
So here eating them damn toys. No.
Just to get back to some comments. All right.
Go ahead. Real quick. So what the idea and the premise behind it is you teach one skill a month. And if you have a good instructor, they make the class as lively and as hands-on as possible to bring you in so that the skills actually soak into your brain. And that's something that I did. I'm a people person. I can teach. I love to teach. I'm just good at presenting material. Okay? I'm really good at presenting material. So what I did was start up an MRT program when I PCS'd here to JBLM. Okay? I started the program within our company and helped build it through our battalion because we were just starting up the unit. So it's kind of an opportunity for me to be like, hey, look, this is the foundation that we need to do, start on. This is how it needs to be taught. And even my first sergeant and the sergeant major and the colonel were like, oh, no, I always thought it was just a check the block thing. You just sit here and do this. Well, the idea was, we got to get through this training because it's mandatory. Okay? When you look at it with that mindset, you're not going to soak in the skills, for one.
And that's how it was when it was taught to me. It was like, hey, here's some paperwork. We're going over hunt the good stuff. And that was it. It was one class that happened once.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. So now, I have a tremendous amount of skills, right, that I can teach to anybody, right? It is through the military. I went through the entire training, got certified in this. And this actually really good stuff. Anywhere from goal setting to putting things in perspective, hunt the good stuff, which is a good one. And the list goes on. I said there's 14 skills. You teach 12 once a month, right? So then if you have a good instructor, what they're going to do with you, even after the class is done, they're going to have some of those worksheets and work one-on-one with you as an individual. That's what I did with a lot of soldiers from different platoons, different units. They would come up to me on my random time. I'd be walking through, hey, Sergeant, that class that you taught was great. I really got a lot out of it. Do you have any more of those sheets? Can I sit down with you and do a goal worksheet and stuff like that? That happened to me a lot. And I thought, I was like, well, damn, I've never seen that happen before. And, it was a tremendous, a really good feeling.
Because you're a good person.
Oh, So you sit down with these guys and you get to learn them. So learn with them about themselves. And then you kind of monitor them and see where their goals are going. And that's, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but that's something that I did here because we weren't deploying. We weren't deploying in this unit. We just trained a lot. So with that, and we did a lot of classes and stuff, so might as well take the advantage of that and do the best that I can. So I created this program that worked out so well that I had the lowest level privates up to the commanders and stuff like that actually thanking me and wanting to, and they look forward to the classes. You don't hear that when it comes to MRT and EO, and I was both. You don't hear that. It's like, fuck, we got to go through this shit again, right? But that's where you fuck up. The instructors are also in the same mindset. We just want to check the block and get it through. So it's a waste of time a lot of the time. But when you have those good instructors and the people remember what you're trying to teach them, whether it's hunt the good stuff or whether it's EO and identifying the difference between racial biases and stereotypes, let's say. If you have a good instructor, someone that's going to give you material and not just read the board, this is what we're going to go off of, you read this slide, all right, any questions, move on. What do you get out of that?
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. You get a good nap, right?
A good nap.
Well, if you get caught sleeping, Sergeant Hauser is going to take you out back and smoke the dog shit out of you. You know what I'm saying?
If somebody was actually, if the people was catching you.
If you pick up what I'm putting down. Oh. So, I believe it has a lot to do with the instructors. So here's where I was getting at with the MRT program. I think it's a great program because I went in with the same mindset that everybody else, like, oh, fuck, I got to do this shit. I got to do this shit. I just want to get it over with, whatever. And that was the first thing the instructor told us. The civilian instructor told us, if you have the mindset that you just want to get this over with and you hate this or whatnot, we're going to change your mind. And I was like, yeah, whatever, bitch. You ain't going to change nobody's mind. This is bullshit. I'm just here because I have to be. Facts. Right? The end of those 2 weeks of doing that course, after I got started, I was like, yo, my mind was like, opened up. Yeah. It was really amazing on how well they taught the class and how they wanted us to teach the class exactly how it was taught to us. Mm-hmm. Okay. So that's something that I did. So with that being said, you go through the training. Mm. I still believe in the MRT program if it's done right. I kind of believe it kind of was implemented at the wrong time. Mm. If that program was really being pushed today, and I'm not sure if it is or not because I'm not active duty, but if that program was implemented and really pushed with how today's society is between being all up in your feelings and shit like that and accepting everything and, stressed out is, if the way the military is approaching this, if that program is really pushed today, I believe it could have a tremendous impact on the soldiers of our military, mental and physical, because you force the soldier to think outside of their norm. That's the idea.
Absolutely.
And I know I was ranting there for a minute, but
it's all good. It's all good. Absolutely. And sometimes that's what you gotta do. You gotta think outside the norm, especially like I said. We as a people are almost conditioned to think towards negative things, like we said earlier, right? You get that one ray of sunshine, and your first thought is, "Now what's gonna happen?
Now what?
Right,
yeah,
right." And it does. Like I said, I only went through the one class, and everything that I've been fortunate enough to learn about being resilient, hunting the good stuff, all that stuff, really came after my military career.
Yeah,
right. And like I said, I was just very fortunate. And like I said, sometimes you just got to take a step back, be like, hey, everything has a season, right? Everything has a season, right? Maybe it's just this time period is my time to bear down and go through some bad stuff for the good stuff that's going to happen later, right?
I mean, some people's seasons seem very long.
Absolutely. And that's why it's a season and not like a designated time period, right? Because seasons can last.
You can't put a designated time period on things like that.
And I'm a firm, but like I said, I'm a firm believer in seeing the good things, right? Being grateful.
Oh, trust me, I know. You tell it to me all the time.
Yeah, I do. Somebody's got to keep you in check. But
I just, how.
No, I know. And trust me when I say I know how hard it is, right, to be positive. For everybody out there, don't get me wrong. I go through my times, right, where I'm just down, depressed, don't want to talk to nobody, but I'm still lonely, right? I go through all that crap. But, I always try to put a good foot forward, You
have to. So you wanted to kind of go off of some of these comments here, right? I know you've been monitoring them.
I mean, I've been trying to.
For some reason, I don't know why, I can't see them. They're not coming up on my computer today. Ever since Kate clicked the thing, it's all fucked up now. But for those of you that are listening and watching us, I appreciate you guys bearing with our technical difficulties.
Absolutely.
Again, I'm still learning this shit, and Lucas doesn't help me at all.
I try to, man.
With what?
Whatever you need me to do. You tell me to do something, I'm gonna do my best to get it done.
You didn't help me when I was trying to figure this bullshit out.
I mean, I thought you had it.
Clearly, I didn't. But anyways, Lucas is going to go ahead and read off some of the comments that has been asked for us to read, and then we can kind of expand on that. And eventually, we're going to get to our updates and headlines that we got, because, of course, we have those. But for those... Oh, here's the comments. There we go. Right. Hey. No, you're still going to have to. I just don't have... I'm behind.
So going back to Jeremy's comment, no, I'm not trying to fluff him. All right, this is just generally what I see as far as from what I know about Anthony. I've known him for going on almost 3 years now, right? He's one of my best friends. His kids call me uncle. I love him like a brother. I love his kids like they were my own, right? There's nothing I wouldn't do for him, right? Great guy. Going to be my best man at my wedding if I ever get married. So
you will. You heard that, Ellie? She had her fingers crossed. You remember that? Right?
Anyway, so moving forward, right? God, there's a lot of comments.
It's water on the rocks, by the way, everybody.
MRT's not a thing in the Marines.
See, that's something that's something I thought that was going to be implemented throughout the entire military, but I guess only the Army adopted that. Yeah. So,
well,
what's Joey say? Mentor is nice, but when the only option someone is giving you is to only go to therapy to work on your problems or everything you have, you will lose. But I've gone to therapy and none of it has helped. I've gone to one-on-one therapy and therapy groups and still didn't help. I know I can't compare to any of you. I've never been in the military. The only military reference I have is NJROTC in high school. The stuff that I learned from my dad when he was in the Navy. Mm-hmm. So just to expand on that, Joey, everybody has their own battles.
Yep.
I am a huge advocate on going to therapy and utilizing therapy to the best of your advantage.
Absolutely.
I will always advocate for therapy because I know what it did for me when I was really down in the dumps. Even when I stopped going, even you were one like, hey man, you need to go talk to somebody. I don't care if you talk to me, talk to whoever, but you need to go talk to somebody. So I would never sleep on therapy, regardless if you didn't think. You're only going to get out of therapy what you put into it. That's what I've learned.
Yep.
And if you don't like the therapist that you have or the group that you're in, switch. You need to go to another one and find the one that's right for you. It's the same thing I had to do with the medicine that I was taking, and along with, I had one doctor that pretty much told me to suck it up. Mm-hmm. And then I had another doctor that kind of took in what I was saying and worked with me to build a plan to move forward. And that's what really got me through, especially when I found out that I had to get medically, retired, which that still fucks with me to this day. But it was because of Dr. Atkinson I was able to actually get through that process, because as soon as I found out, I talked to him. I was like, look, man, this is what they're doing to me. Mm-hmm. And we, developed a plan of moving forward on what we can do to get my mind right for getting out, which is something that is not really pushed in the military, other than like you have the SFL tab, like, all right, do this class, learn how to budget, learn how to do a resume, blah, 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 blah. All right, you're done. But really getting your mental right from transitioning from military to civilian sector, it's a big deal.
Absolutely.
And so utilizing a good therapist, I think, is key.
Yeah.
Do not sleep on it. Don't give up on it. Okay.
Yeah, I will never say don't go to therapy. I only think that therapy can help. Right. There was a time where I was having some relationship issues and I wanted to go to therapy. Right. Because I wanted to try and salvage the relationship. Didn't work, obviously, but that's a different story. So therapy, it's a tool, right? And just like any tool, if you use it wrong or if you don't apply it, it's not going to work for you. At the end of the day, depending on what you're going to therapy for, like, you got to apply what you learn, and you got to go there open-minded. If you go there like, oh, this is not going to work, this isn't for me, whatever, then it's probably not going to work. You've already made up in your mind that it's not going to work. I've never been to therapy, so I don't know.
I don't think you should sleep on it.
I don't. Like I said, there was a time I wanted to go. Never been, but at that point in my time, in my life, I was willing to go and would have went, but, like I said, different story. But as far as just stuff in general, like, you go and try and make the best thing of your situation, right? Just evaluate it for what it is, right? Try and see it from an objective point of view. Right, don't try and just try and take a step back. If it's relationship issues, take a step back. Try to see it from the other person's point of view. See what they see, and then just try and work together towards your issues. If it's personal stuff that you got, again, take a step back. Right, try and see things objectively, and then try and, like anything else, move forward in the best way possible.
Do you think it's easy for everybody to?
No.
Take our words, for instance, and then actually implement that into their everyday life? Because the idea, especially with what's been presented to us the last year and a half, is that it's only gonna be negative. Mm-hmm. It's hard to look to the future other than like, oh look, we got a vaccine. Okay, let's be honest about that. Like, that's gotten into so many people's head because of the fear mongering that's been out there. And I'm not going to get political, but you know what I'm talking about.
No, absolutely.
But so it's hard for people to implement what our words and what we're saying in their everyday life when all they're seeing is bullshit.
Yeah, and it is very hard, but that's when you, like I'm a firm believer in taking a step back from social media, taking a step back from the news, right? Go walk, go on a hike, walk through nature, something, get away, reset the clocks, right? Do what you got to do. Like if you have a hobby or something, go do that for a little bit. Turn the phone off, right? Just be with you.
I can tell you right now, trying to figure out what it is that you or I like as a person, as Anthony. Is one of the hardest fucking things I've been able to do.
Absolutely.
Other than starting this organization and hanging out with my kids, like I don't have a hobby. I don't have
Mortal Kombat's not a hobby, bro.
No, that's a lifestyle, baby. That's a lifestyle.
Okay,
don't you ever don't you ever disrespect that like that.
Well, it's a hobby for me.
It's hard for me to get into something. I don't know. Like, yeah, I went fishing. I enjoyed fishing. I enjoy video games. I enjoy tinkering on my cars. But I don't have like a look, this is my thing. You know what I mean? For me to focus on. I'm a dad. Yeah. My off time, I love spending time with my kids. They are my pride and joy. However, everyone's always talking about, well, you need to focus on you. Where's your me time? I don't know what to do on my me time.
That's the thing, right? In my personal opinion, if you don't mind me interrupting,
you're gonna do it anyways. So.
Well, yeah, I mean that's what friends are for. But that is your thing. You're a dad. If that's what makes you happy, then do that.
Right,
Take
but here's the thing. What do I do when I don't have my kids? You see what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
You see what I'm saying? When I'm not with them for those days, or when So what did I do? I filled that space with working 70 hours a week and depleting myself to a point where it's like, damn, like this is my life now. I just work my ass off, and that's what really fucks with your mentals. Yeah. I went from being active duty and being way up here as far as like career-wise, where I could be. I went to all of the boards that you can go to include Sergeant Audie Murphy. You know what I'm saying? I went through that process to becoming NCO of the turn, or NCO of the tour, NCO of the year, you name it, and then you move to a new duty station. Now, hey, you're a platoon sergeant now, and you get accolades moving up, and then, hey, sorry man, you're just a little too broke. Here's that pink slip.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, so now I got to start a whole new life chapter again.
Yeah,
and I don't know what it is to make me. I'm still learning. I've been out going on 3 years. I'm still fucking learning.
And like you're not old, man. All right, I know you feel old, but you're not old, right? So maybe just take some time. If you ever get a short week at work, if you ever decide to take only 40 hours.
Ever since I split with my ex-wife. And, eventually, actually divorcing and things like that, it hasn't been easy for me to enjoy the little things and be happy.
I know.
So when and you know this, when I start to be alone for too long, my mind starts racing and going down that downward spiral.
I get that.
And it's almost impossible to push that away. It's almost impossible. It's not impossible, but it's almost impossible.
Yeah, and
it takes people like you and Kate and Ryan, Dalton to actually understand me as a person and understand my mental cues. So you guys can tell when something's wrong. And then you guys just keep bugging the fuck out of me and don't leave me alone until my mind changes. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Which obviously it does help. It can be annoying as fuck sometimes, but it does help. You know what I mean? So
that's our job.
I think with having good people around you, and it doesn't have to be a lot of people, just having a small group of people that actually see, there's a difference in people caring and genuinely caring.
Absolutely.
I obviously care about everybody, and I want everybody to be successful and healthy. But I don't have a genuine care for every single person in the world. I'm not going to be as invested in some random stranger on the street as I am in the welfare of you or other people.
No,
does that make sense?
No, absolutely.
Not that I don't care about them, but I have a genuine investment in a friendship that I have with you or the people that I've deployed with or family than I would with some random stranger.
Yeah, and like I said, you're not old, right? You're not 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, winding down the days.
But the military broke me down to a point where I feel like it.
And I get that, but feelings change, right?
Not physicality. So.
No, physicality doesn't change, but feelings do, right? So my thing is like, you're still young. You still have time to go out and learn who you are, learn what makes you happy, right? And yeah, it sucks sometimes when you're alone, right? And you sometimes you go down that downward spiral, right? And that's fine, right? And that's fine. Everybody breaks. Everybody's human. Everybody has days, weeks where they're just, down in the dumps, and that's fine, right? That's what we as your friends are here to help, to pull you out, to help you out. We're always here if you need us, right? And that goes for everybody out there, right? If you go down that spiral, you know your cues, right? Reach out to somebody.
That's the hardest part is reaching out for help because of judgment.
Absolutely, and that's why you reach out to people that genuinely care about you. Like, you reach out to me, I reach out to you, right?
You don't reach out to me. No, I bug you just like you bug me until we start saying something.
Yeah.
And just so you know, Ryan, I ain't throwing no motherfucking iPhone.
So
it's trash.
As I was saying, if you know your mental cues, that's fine. Just reach out when you start going down that spiral, but you still get out there, dude. Get by yourself, like just experience new things.
I was told by somebody that works with us. I'm not gonna put their name on blast, but because I have a hard time expanding and understanding what my purpose is in life. Okay. And I don't think that's something that you just have written on the blackboard, Lucas, this is your purpose, and then that's the only way that you can go down that path. Mm-hmm. I don't believe that that's true. However, I believe your purpose changes over time and over how you grow in life. Okay? As you grow, you reach a certain stage in your life, and your purpose will also reach a different stage as you're continuing to grow. I don't know if you just have one specific purpose. Mm-hmm. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I was told by this individual that my purpose that she can see, and I know I said she, it's only so many, right?
I already have an idea.
She's a witch, so you know who I'm talking about.
Yep.
She told me that my purpose is helping people. She can see that. She's felt it. She senses. She did the fucking tarot cards, all that. You know how she's a witch.
Yeah,
so,
I got you.
And my purpose is helping other people. And I know for you, you've told me that sometimes I need to step back.
Yeah.
Because I go out of my way to help others, and I will sacrifice myself for other people, and I do it all the time, and I don't realize when I'm doing it. Mm-hmm. And it takes you all the time. Like, hey, man.
You need to calm down, bro.
Hey, man.
Yeah. No, I absolutely see that, right?
Thank you, Jeremy.
And you're definitely a people person. You're definitely very outgoing.
I try.
Love people, right? But
now, fuck that. I hate people, but
no, stop lying to the people.
I fake it really well.
Stop lying to the people. So absolutely, and I truly believe that as well. But there comes a point where, like I said I believe it was last week, it's got to be a give and take relationship. If you're constantly giving, even to other people, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be in a relationship, an intimate relationship, right? If you're constantly giving out to other people and not getting anything in return, it becomes very one-sided and you get drained really fast.
You do.
So you have to be very picky with who you give to, right? If you're constantly giving to so many people and only a small handful of those people are giving you stuff in return, you're going to have less and less to give out to other people.
Yeah, you're right. You end up getting depleted.
Exactly. And I don't want to get too much into your business, but I believe something similar is very much happening to you, where you're constantly giving out to other people and only a few people are giving back to you.
Yeah, but
so you're constantly depleted.
I don't ever expect anybody to do extra for me.
It's not supposed to be expected. Right? There's friendship's a give and take kind of road, right? If you can't give to your friends, then they're all gonna leave anyway, because it becomes you're manipulating, you're using people to get what you want if you're never willing to give in return, or when you do give, you expect something in return. That's not friendship. That's manipulation. That's using people.
You make a good point, and
right.
I think that's identifying that. Mm-hmm. is hard to do, but identifying that is a major step to moving forward.
I mean, and that's where I'm a firm believer in looking at people's actions, because people can talk all day long. I mean, look at our politicians; they lie all the time. You got to see what people do. It's the actions, because that's going to direct you to their true motives.
Yeah,
if you notice somebody that's always asking you for stuff in return and never do anything for
everything is so hush hush when it comes to the politicians. You get those massive headlines.
Yeah, we're not going to get into that, but just like if you watch them, you'll see, right? If you really pay attention.
Oh, trust me, I see it.
Oh, absolutely.
But I also feel like there's just ain't shit we can do.
Yeah.
Y'all voted for him, so it's just it is what it is.
Debatable. But anyway, so like you just gotta be able to identify that, and that's where, in my opinion, and I'm going to toot my own horn here. I think I'm very good with people, to where I can see these things.
You're really good at reading people.
Yeah.
Your delivery, though.
My delivery is fine.
For you.
Yeah.
It's fine for me. Other people have expressed that your delivery can be
harsh.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Which is fine for me. You know what I mean? Because I know you're soft. I know you're soft as Charbon. But other people don't know.
Well, I don't care what other people think.
I know that, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
Especially when you first meet somebody and they're like, "Yo, why is he like?" I'm like, "Yo, nah, he's just a big teddy bear. Don't worry about him."
I've calmed down a lot.
You definitely have. And
but anyway,
and you know what I mean.
Talk about that.
But yeah, but you know, we don't too personal. Anyway. But anyways, so that's about 45 minutes of me ranting and talking about my sentimental bullshit. And thank you for bringing up my health issues for the whole world to fucking hear.
You brought it up last week, all right, and I want to get it out there. So
didn't get out there.
Pray for you if they so choose. If they do pray, they want to think about you.
Thank you.
Good thoughts, all right.
Thank you.
This is very important. Like we've always said all along, that this is a community and we're here for each other. So one of us goes down, it's up to the other ones of us to pick it up, where that one can't, do what they got to do.
Well, right? I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I honestly do, and I have an idea that or a good feeling I'm going to get through this. It's not going to be I hope it's not as severe as the issues that have been happening, but we'll see what happens. I'm not a doctor, so we'll see what happens.
But until what happens, we're going to remain hopeful and positive.
Okay, I can try.
Oh, we gonna do it, bro. Ain't no trying in this part of it.
I can try.
But anyway, so
moving on. Hold on, real quick. Before we move on to the headlines, I know you want to get into them.
I do.
We got some shit to talk about, y'all.
We do.
We can move past the fucking sad tears part, right, and move forward.
Yeah,
for the third time's a charm, as Jeremy once said here on this comment board. We're going to actually get into the live stream and view the updates from around the world that we want to talk about today. But in honor of the men's room, we have to take our shot for the fourth time. Or the third time.
We've already taken like 6 shots.
No, we haven't, man. It was actually 3. But this time that they're actually live and we're actually doing the video right, we're going to honor the men's room who actually help us out a lot.
All right.
So, if you guys don't know, the local radio show here on KISW 99.9, they do a 2 to 6 p.m. show here every day. It's called The Men's Room. It's extremely funny. And they also have a beer out there called the Men's Room Original Red. And the money that you spend on that beer, the money they actually use to the local VA and the Fisher House here, which is a tremendous thing. So, by buying this beer, donations are actually going to the Fisher House and the VA here in the area. So that's a really good deal. Some people, hey, let's go run a 10K or whatever bullshit. Let's go run, a marathon. And then they donate money and then that goes to a certain cause. Well, this one here, the way they look at it is they're not running nowhere. So let's go ahead and have this beer made by Elysian Brewing Company here in Seattle.
Yeah, beer.
So let's have this beer where people can buy, and the money that we use from there, a pretty significant portion goes to the local VA and Fisher House. So that's awesome. So I wanted to shout out to them and honor them for what they're doing to help out our local veterans in the area.
Absolutely.
And if you don't know about what the Fisher House is, they actually they kind of house the family and take care of the families when a person is going through a operation or surgery from war. They have to have this procedures and things and rehab taken care of. in a certain area, the Fisher House will house and take care of the families.
Yep.
And I mean, in order to do that, I mean, from anywhere from housing them, giving them what they need, taking them around, that's what the Fisher House does.
Absolutely.
So, and you know, that it's a tremendous deal, especially for our servicemen and women who have suffered through combat and things like that, get the help that they need. You have to think of the families too, and that takes money. So the donations that they give to them, I wanted to shout out to them as helping out our local veterans in the area. So.
And for those of you out there, if you want to donate to a good cause, you don't have to take our word for it. Look into it. If you so choose to, please, by all means, donate if you want to. If you have another charitable organization that you donate to, more power to you. But this is just one of the ones that we like.
This is one of many, and it really makes you think, because the families, they suffer too. Mm-hmm. It makes you think.
Absolutely.
And war is hell. War is fucking hell.
More than just a soldier.
So just think about that. So in honor of the men's room, we're gonna do this toast and take this drink, and I wanted to utilize their saying that they use when they take their shot of the day. So please, I don't own this saying, or I don't want any copyright bullshit. I'm just using the saying for our toast of the day in honor of the men's room. Here we go. So. We pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy. So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola, bijola. That's good whiskey. I mean, water. Water. Man the fuck up. It's just a little water.
Yeah.
On the rocks.
Totally.
So anyways, we're going to get into those headlines, and Lucas has 3 headlines for us today that we shouldn't be talking about, but apparently we're going to talk about. But
we got 4, but the big one we're going to save for the end, and I'm pretty sure everybody out here can guess by the title of these 3 headlines what the 4th one's going to be.
So, God damn.
Moving forward with title number 1, and Mr. Triplett.
Oh, hell no.
This headline reads, and it's not this particular headline that I want to talk about, but the comments made by the person in this headline, right? Republican effort fails to censure Maxine Waters after Chauvin trial judge's admonishment. All right, so that's the title of the headline, but the actual thing that I want to talk about is what she said. And for those of you that don't know what she said, and I'm paraphrasing here, she said if the jurors don't give the verdict that they want in the Chauvin trial, that the protesters should stay in the street and then get more confrontational. I'm paraphrasing.
Get more confrontational.
More confrontational. Now,
those are exact words she did say, is get more confrontational.
Yeah, but she didn't say it in the way I said it.
Yeah.
What I find funny about this particular situation was when a reporter asked Miss Waters about this particular quote, she said, and I quote, "You're getting very confrontational." Right? So, Mr. Triplett, how do you feel about that situation?
Burn it all down.
Burn what down?
The whole city. Fuck it. Burn it all. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, they're already trying to defund the police there.
Hold on now. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think we should burn it down. Her comments are, one, I'm going to be honest with you. I did read, the article when she said that shit. All right, and I made a post. I saw the comment or the post from somebody else, and I put a comment on there, and I was like, it's funny how the tables have turned, and nothing's happening.
Yep.
One person says some shit about using the show of force or, strong band. They get canceled by everybody. Not going to say who, but y'all know who the fuck I'm talking about.
Yep.
Number 45. And then, on the other hand, you have someone else saying the same shit. If they don't give the verdict that we want, they should do X, Y, and Z. Now, that right there, to me, is wrong because it seems like you're putting unnecessary pressure on the jury, for one.
And if I'm not mistaken, isn't that considered jury tampering?
Well, I'm not a legal expert. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a fucking paralegal. I'm not a judge. But yeah, it seems when you have an influential or powerful person saying, if we don't get what we want, I want them to be more confrontational. See, that's real vague.
Yeah.
What is confrontational? What defines confrontation, and exactly what is what is it that they're going to do before you're like, okay, that's too confrontational. Yeah. And we already know what they're capable of doing.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, there was a drive-by shooting that happened a couple hours later at National Guard soldiers that may or may not have been influenced by this very quote. I'm not going to sit here and say that it was, but people going to do what people going to do.
It's hard to determine, or it's hard to define.
I don't know
the actions of others based. This happened after the quote was made, so it's kind of easy to say they were influenced by that quote.
Yeah, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying here that these very people said as soon as she heard this, like, oh, I'm going to go do a drive-by shooting. I'm just saying, when you tell people, hey, get confrontational, people are going to get confrontational, especially if you're an elected official. Now, I don't believe that it is acceptable for our elected officials to say these things that are explosive in nature.
Yes.
Right? So, I don't know. I don't agree with it. I think it's funny that certain people get censored.
Yes, censored.
Censored.
That's the good word. That's a good
word
to say.
Social media for saying stuff that, in my opinion, is less explosive. But
yeah,
it is what it is. Is the country that we live in. I just want to get your take on it.
I just think that there's, it should be viewed the same when you have actual things going on. People getting hurt, actions being taken after a specific comment was made.
Absolutely.
I believe that people should be held accountable for their actions, either for what they do or what they fail to do.
Absolutely.
But, again, I'm not in charge of that area. I'm not in charge of the ways they go about reprimanding people, and I'm not going to say this is how it should be done.
Absolutely.
I just believe that something, it's almost calling for violence to happen, because confrontation can be defined in so many different ways. The way I look at confrontation is fighting.
Yeah.
It's some kind of a fight.
And see, I think that I'm a free speech advocate. All right, I believe that you should be able to say anything up to openly calling for violence towards a person, group, place, or thing. Right. Other than that, you should be able to say just about anything. When you start saying, hey, we need to get confrontational, we need to start getting in people's faces, yelling, screaming, all that stuff, I don't agree with, right?
No, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, and like I said, when we have elected officials saying explosive comments like this right here that can be easily be misconstrued and misinterpreted.
Yes.
Right. I don't believe that's right, especially coming from an elected official, because such people that are hanging on your word, that look up to you, they're going to like, oh, this is an open call for violence.
And this is what they're asking me to do. This is my calling.
Yep. Regardless of what
they're calling on me to do this.
Take the issue, what they're talking about, out of it, right? Take the cause out of it, what they're fighting for, right? Just look at the comments themselves. It shouldn't be like this. We shouldn't have elected officials openly, in my opinion, calling for violence.
I mean, so would the same be said for?
It should be the same standard across the board. If you're going to censor one person off of social media for comments, then everybody that makes comments like that should be censored off social media. There shouldn't be this picky choosy. Just because you say what I agree with, I'm gonna let you talk. No, that's not right. It should be one standard across the board. Doesn't matter, Democrat, Republican. Doesn't matter.
I'm with that, and I don't think people really understand their words do have power and meaning.
Absolutely.
So, especially if you're in a position of power, people are going to literally take exactly what you say as that has to happen. It's no different than when Donnie said maybe they should inject Lysol in their veins or whatnot. Obviously, he wasn't being serious, but because he's in a position of power, people use that as an excuse to fucking inject Lysol in their veins and get hospitalized.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, you have to understand what you say, whether it's true or not, or joking or not. Somebody somewhere is going to take that shit seriously.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we need to raise the standard on stuff that we allow in this country. I truly do. I think that we need to like I said, just set one standard across the board. If we're going to censor people for saying things like this, then everything past that point needs to be censored as
yeah.
well.
No, you're absolutely right. And like I have turned off the updates for what's going on down there in Minnesota right now, just because it's, as I was watching it, I was starting to see a lot of racist comments coming from both sides, and it was just getting to a point where I just I just didn't want to see that negativity, so I just turned the shit off. So I'm kind of staying away from this one, even though. Well, we'll get into that headline here in a minute.
So this leads us into our next headline. All right, with what's going on down there, we're going to talk about Miss Pelosi.
Oh God!
Yep,
that rotten bitch.
So, for those of you that
my opinion, by the way, she's a rotten bitch.
So, for those of you that don't know, she made a public announcement thanking George Floyd for sacrificing your life for justice. Right?
Wait, hold on. She said what?
She made a public appearance and she spoke and she thanked George Floyd for sacrificing his life for justice. Thoughts? Let's get into this one.
Wait a minute.
Yep. So Miss Pelosi,
Nancy.
Yep. Thanked George Floyd for sacrificing his life. Now, in my opinion, when you sacrifice your life,
let me tell you, I know soldiers that have sacrificed.
That means you voluntarily get into a situation to where you lose your life for a certain cause.
Yes.
In my opinion, George Floyd didn't sacrifice his life. Right? First of all, he died. Whether or not you believe he was murdered is outside the point, right?
Yeah.
The fact that he didn't voluntarily lay down his life for anything just is crap. So
his death did spark, in a sense, a revolution. Mm-hmm. But I do not believe that his loss of life was done in an effort to start a revolution.
Absolutely. And that's
so for her to say, you want to thank you for sacrificing your life. And is this a real quote that she said? Like, this is fact checked?
Yes, this is
okay. So that's wrong.
Absolutely.
First of all, you have no business speaking on this man's loss of life unless you were going to express condolences. That's how I feel. I feel like you have no reason or no business expanding on this man's life or loss of life unless you're going to express condolences. Yeah. It's not your place. You don't know him. You don't know him except for what that video has shown.
See, taking a step back from this, like I watched that snippet, right, of what she said. And to me, it looked like, oh, this is what I can use to try and push what I want as far as this, that, and the other.
Well, I don't know what she's trying to get at by saying something like that.
See, I mean, I got my thoughts, but like I personally think that this happens a lot with politicians in general. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, whatever. I personally think they pick and choose storylines, headlines that they can try and use to push a narrative, to push their agenda for what they want for this country. I truly believe that. And like I said, I don't believe it's just restricted to one party or the other.
No, it's not. But going back to her comment, it's borderline disrespectful.
Absolutely, it completely is.
Because the man is gone.
Yeah,
I don't care if he was on drugs before or he had a history of whatnot. The fact is, the man is gone.
Yep.
His death, regardless if it was the drugs that killed him or not, the man's neck was nailed on for 8 minutes and 46 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Like, how he died doesn't matter. We're not talking about that. We're talking about just the fact that he died.
There's no reason for you to say his sacrifice. You want to thank him for his sacrifice. Mm-hmm. First of all, Miss Nancy, let's check on the families. How are the families doing, Miss Nancy?
From what I understand, the president did. I don't know if he called or if he wrote a letter, but I believe he did talk to the family.
I'm not talking about the president. Well, the president is our public figure. Yeah. Nancy, since you want to go around making comments on this man's life or loss of life, when's the last time Nancy really checked up in on the family or done anything for the family? Nancy.
I outside of going to whatever she does in Washington D.C., I don't think this lady leaves her $6 million estate. Now, I don't know if her estate is actually $6 million, but
what I'm saying, what I'm getting at is, she doesn't have any room to talk.
No,
she's gonna say certain things because here's what it is. Even if she feels that way or doesn't, she's gonna say what she thinks people want to hear.
Absolutely.
Because, in my personal opinion, that's what she does.
Yeah, I agree.
She's gonna say what she thinks people want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest with you. When you talk about sacrifice, yeah, you are right. You voluntarily go in for a specific cause, movement, or whatever the case is. Soldiers volunteer for the military and go overseas and fight the wars to protect freedom and democracy and liberation and things like that. So we do that voluntarily if we lose a limb, eyesight, or life. Yes, it is a sacrifice because, no, I did not go there to specifically lose life, limb, or eyesight. However, I did volunteer the service, and I know what the outcome could have been.
Like I said,
George Floyd did not do that and did not sacrifice himself. He did not sacrifice himself. He might have been hopped up on drugs. The fact is, he died. Mm-hmm. His death, it was not a sacrifice. His death was, and
it was
people will say. People will say it was murder.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter how he died. The fact is, don't sit there and say that he sacrificed himself for this movement. He has no room to defend that.
Yeah,
his family can't defend that. That's not fair. That's not for you to say. That's not for you to say, Miss Pelosi. Mm. That's not for you to say, Mrs. Pelosi. Excuse me. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, it's not for you to say. You shouldn't be speaking on that man's life.
You see, me personally, I don't have an issue with her speaking on the death. I think she chose her words very poorly, right?
Because I don't think she put any thought to it.
Well, absolutely, and that's exactly what it is. She's probably drunk. But anyway, like I think she chose her words very poorly, right? Like you said, when you sacrifice, right, you voluntarily put yourself in a position to lose whatever it is that you're sacrificing, right? He didn't put himself,
or you understand that you could lose, for whatever cause.
Yeah, and that's not what happened in his situation. This dude died by whatever means that he died, right? His death was used to start a movement over the last 12, 14, 16 months, whatever.
No, I'm not going to say that the movement isn't necessary. In some aspects, I don't agree with the looting and burning down and all that. You can say what you want to me or about me. I don't care. It's not going to hurt my feelings. But the idea that the movement was solely caused because of his sacrifice and loss of life is kind of it's preposterous. Like it's ridiculous.
It, in my opinion, is very tone deaf, right? It comes across as she doesn't care.
Yeah, it dismisses the fact of what really happened.
Exactly. It comes across in all these ways that shows that she doesn't know what she's talking about. Yes. In my opinion.
Yeah.
But like I said, she apparently faced a whole bunch of backlash for it. So we'll see if she chooses to apologize.
I'm not at this point. I don't want an apology. She's gonna backtrack from her statement. Well, I didn't mean that.
If she even makes a statement.
That. If she makes a statement, yeah. Or apology. I don't care about that. No. I just. She knew what the fuck she was saying.
Oh, like I said, man. I personally believe that politicians in general, they pick and choose headlines, and because this one rose to national attention, right? This is the one that she wants to talk about, and she wants to push a certain thing, whatever the case may be. So she's going to use this to try and push said agenda, whatever that is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man.
It happens from time to time.
The agenda, well, we're not going to get into that right
now. So last headline, and then we'll get into the real topic. AOC, squad members promote defund the police, but spend thousands on private security.
Sounds to me like they got some money.
Yes. So, this sounds like to me, right? And think what you may think about police. Like I said, I will always support police until there's evidence to not support police. And by not supporting police, I mean, while I believe the vast majority of police are good, there are bad people out there, as there are bad people in every career field, right?
Fairly said.
Right. So the bad police officers obviously need to get out, but I think the vast majority of police officers want to serve, want to help, want to improve the community that they work in.
I can get behind that statement.
Right. So the fact that all these people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars are trying to push this thing of defunding the police, and while I do agree police need to be reformed, right, there needs to be changes made, obviously, right, but I don't agree with defunding the police, because if you look at Ferguson, if you look at what happened in Minneapolis where they defunded the police, crime skyrocketed. And which communities were affected the most? It's the poor communities, the downtrodden communities, the oppressed communities, right? But they can say all this stuff and have all this defunding the police happen, but it happens in communities that are not their own.
We know for a fact that when you defund the police, we know for a fact that crime goes up. Yeah, we know that is fact. We know that.
Look at Ferguson. Look at Chicago. Look at
Seattle,
Minneapolis. Look at Seattle. Right, police are taken away. Look at what happened. What's going to happen in Maryland? They did away with their police Bill of Rights.
Yeah,
right.
Which that doesn't make any sense to me. But and the unions can only do so much. Yeah. Now, granted, I wouldn't necessarily say that as much. I get yes. Police reform does need to be done.
Absolutely.
But that has to start with the unions, because the unions, as they are good at keeping good officers, protecting them, job security and whatnot. But it also protects the bad officers that are there.
Yeah,
so we really got to look at the unions first.
I personally think the unions are what's keeping these bad officers on the street.
No, absolutely. And when you have a 15-year veteran as opposed to the 2-year guy who wants to do the right thing,
and the 15-year-old sweep stuff up under the rug.
Exactly. What's going to happen? You're going to listen to the 15-year-old veteran
because he has tenure.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you, man. When I hear a headline like that, defund the police, but then we're going to spend buku money on private security. First of all, unless you're doing a private security like what we do, you're essentially just getting some mall cop.
Yeah.
Okay. Which can't really do much outside of that property.
Well, in just AOC's case, because that's as much as I read before, I got really pissed off. She spends $3,000 to $4,000 a month on private security
for herself.
From what I understand.
Yeah, right. Because she's up there.
Yes, and which is fine. But so this is what it sounds like to me. I have my own team of people that's going to protect me. You can't have that. That's exactly what it sounds like to me.
Well,
right?
What's going to end up happening if this is the case? You defund the police. Every big wig or company, every person is just going to have their own private force.
And then what happens to the people like us that can't afford $2-3 a month for private
street justice? That's what happens.
Yeah, and then people get thrown in jail that don't deserve it,
or
people get killed that don't deserve it.
There we go. Because there's no police to throw you in jail, right?
Yeah, right. And then it's just mob rule all over again.
That's exactly what they want. They want chaos.
In my opinion, this is exactly what's going to happen.
Well, first off, you can't go away from having a police force. You have to have police.
Have to have some form of law enforcement.
You have to. That's not gonna disappear.
Yes.
It's not gonna happen. But by depleting your force with funds and stuff like that, police aren't obligated to stay there. You can't. It's not like the military where you have to. Then you end up with martial law.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, right? And maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want to pull in the National Guard to have them serve as law enforcement. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you right now, you get rid of the police, you're going to end up having so much chaos that you're going to have active duty soldiers roving the street, and that's going to be the norm.
And that's if the governors bring them in.
Well, I'm talking about active duty. It's going to end because you're going to have some kind of law and order.
Yeah,
so what's going to end up happening, you get rid of the police that are on the street, you're going to end up having active duty soldiers they have no choice but to follow the orders.
But my thing is, how many people are going to die before that happens?
That's
how many good people.
That's not something I want to think about because
but these are the things that we need to think about.
You're absolutely right. I'm not in the position to make that decision.
I understand. But how many kids are going to have to die in a McDonald's drive-thru? How many innocent fathers are going to get shot in the back walking their kids down the street? This is ridiculous.
Not to say that can't happen with police, but when you have no police,
how many women are going to get?
It's every man for themselves.
How many women and elders are going to get abused? Like, this is ridiculous.
You're right. If they can, I want to see a detailed plan on what it is that they expect or what they would want by defunding the police and then hiring security.
Yeah, like,
what does that plan look like?
There is no plan. That's the hardest part. Like, because I've seen headlines that say, when asked about defunding the police and what is the alternative, they have no answer. They have no answer. What's the alternative? Send nurses, psychiatrists, and mental health professionals? While I do agree that these tools, and I use them as tools, are needed to properly treat people, absolutely, these people aren't going to go into it and a very fiery situation,
hostile environment,
a very hostile situation. It's not going to happen. Police come in, make the place safe. Then these people.
Let me ask this: so instead of defunding the police and then only using those type of efforts, why not? Let's not defund, but why not fund the police with more money to utilize those same resources while in the streets? So, for instance, and I saw this work in a program, I'm not sure in what city it was, but what they were doing was they would have a mental health professional on staff with the police report. So they would go out to a call, de-escalate the situation to at least get it to a safe level, and then have the professional, the mental health professional, go there and speak with them on the scene to help alleviate a further situation. Why not fund that better?
I'm okay with that.
Why not have that as as a resource? Why not allocate funds to creating that as a resource and making that a regular thing instead of just blaming police or getting police into a certain situation? Because I'm going to tell you right now, with the way things are looking right now, who's going to want to be a cop? Nobody. Unless you're looking to just be aggressive to try to take out people. We happen to live in a state where being a police officer is, you can be paid very well as a police officer here. Okay? Very, very well. There are people, we had a former police officer from Nashville talk to us today that works with us, and he said that people flock from other states to come here because the pay is so well and the benefits are so well. But especially for how blue and liberal the policies are here, people don't really want to be police here because they don't have any, they're not allowed to do anything. Yep. We see it every day with what we do. Yeah. And just Seattle PD, right? Where there are, well, he didn't kill anybody, so we're going to give him back his weapons. We know he broke this property. We're going to give him back his tools. We're going to give him back his drugs.
Stolen credit cards
and checks. And, hey, man, have a great day. But then they question us, hey, why did you put him in cuffs?
Yeah.
Why is this man detained? Why did you utilize this level of force? Well, motherfucker, that's my job. Yeah. I protect people that make a lot more money than I do. However, they come through with their their hands are tied because of their government, the local government, which says, let them go. Let them go on the spot.
It's going back to the police and the servicemen, like the nurses and all that. I'm okay with that, absolutely.
What? Right? Let them catch and release? Let them go?
No. As far as like securing the scene, having the people come out, talk to the people when it's not so hostile, I'm okay with that. But taking money away from police is going to do two things: make them not want to do their job, and then not hire people. So when the older people retire or leave, there's nobody to fill those slots.
Or you're going to continue to have the same bad-minded people on the force. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you take away funds, you also take away training.
Yep. And because that's the first thing that goes.
Training costs money.
Yep. And that's the first thing that goes.
So instead of us focusing on de-escalation training, escalation of force, use of force training as a regular thing instead of a once-a-year thing, why don't we utilize those funds that we have or put more funds into allowing officers to get that training and understand the situation because things are changing. It's an evolving world. Because things are changing within our world, training also has to change and be adapted. When you take money away, you don't get that training, and you have to go off of what you got 2 years ago.
Yeah, and like I said, when it comes down to any department, if it comes between manpower and training, guess what? The first thing they're going to take away from? They're going to take away from the training because they need so many people to staff their shift or whatever.
I made a comment earlier today to our coworker, the former officer down in Nashville. And the comment I made was, well, we have a situation where we need more units out there, but the majority of the units that you see are solo in their vehicle, police units. They're solo. Mm-hmm. So this is where the idea of having a partner with you can help you de-escalate. And here's my idea behind that. By responding to a call, you have a backup with you. You have a partner that even if I'm getting out of line with my use of force or my demeanor, my tone, whatever the case is, I'm going to listen to you as my partner to calm me down a bit. Hey, man, you're coming off a little bit too aggressive right now. We need to tone this back. Because I may not realize it in the heat of the moment. But having a different set of eyes to back me up if things go bad, or to help tone me down if I'm being a little too much at the forefront. Because I'm a firm believer of matching tones instead of creating a hostile environment when there doesn't need to be one. Mm-hmm. I like to match tones and then try to always bring it down to a real clear level, which I'm pretty good at fucking doing. So I think having a partner with you, someone that you can trust to have your back to help you do that, is necessary. But you see a lot of units that are all by themselves and have to wait for backup to come. So it's that split moment. They're hopped up on adrenaline. They don't know. Traffic stops, they say, the traffic stops can be the most deadly because you never know what you're getting into.
From what I understand, they are the most deadly.
You never know what you're getting. Well, I think domestic calls are also
I think they're up there. I if I remember correctly, I think traffic stops are the most.
Yeah, I don't know what the stats are on that, but if you think about it, having that partner want to have your back, it should be regular to have a partner.
Absolutely.
But here, you see they rather have more units to respond to different areas.
Which makes sense.
So it's all single.
Yeah.
Well, you need to hire more. You need to hire more people. How do you hire more people with no money? With no money.
Yeah, absolutely. And like
these aren't hard problems to solve.
No, taking money away is never a good thing. And I agree that we need to divert money into social programs, i.e. schools, community centers. I'm all for that, absolutely. But I personally think that if the government wasn't so bad at sending money overseas, we'd have money for these things.
Yeah, well, if we spent more time worrying about us instead of others, and I mean us as an American people, instead of other countries, not that other countries don't need help, but why does it always have to be us?
Like I said, man, we got to take care of your own house before you're allowed to help other people. So, anyway.
It's true. I just think that we have a duty. We have a duty to protect our own. We're not protecting our own when you cut funds from necessary positions and people.
Because if you look at the statistics, the people that get hurt the most are the lower income families.
Well, yeah, that's where the most crime is because everybody's fed up, especially this past year. They're just stuck on COVID and stuck inside and isolated. And you have situations where people are on their wits' end, man. Mm-hmm. Unemployment's running out. The stimulus ain't doing shit.
I believe the eviction moratorium, whatever.
That's,
I think that ended.
That ended. People are getting kicked out on the streets, so they're at a desperation mode where you have to utilize. I mean, at the end of the day, if I have to choose whether I'm going to eat or whether my kids are going to eat, my kids are always going to eat first. And if I don't have funds to get that, I'm going to find a way to feed my kids, regardless. So, and even if that's within the crime, if I get caught, I get caught. But at the end of the day, my vision and forefront is going to be to feeding my kids, whatever that cost is. So you can understand where people are coming from on the street.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's very unfortunate, but we're going to just have to wait and see what happens. Unfortunately.
People are getting tired of waiting.
I completely agree with you.
People are getting tired of waiting. But I think that we're in a position now where I honestly hope, that people are starting to really wake up and see and understand how corrupt and stupid some of our politicians are.
There have been so many reports that people are waking up. The people have been waking up for apparently for the last 3 years. When's it actually going to happen? I'm ready.
It comes down to the vote, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
the election system's corrupt. The politicians are corrupt.
We've already saw about how our elections go. But
anyway. The question is, how do we fix it? Because if you try to step away and get a group of people to think a certain way, now you're becoming a domestic terrorist because you're trying to overthrow the government or whatever it is.
You know how we fix it.
Moving on to the next topic. I ain't trying to get shut down, dog.
the last topic. All right. And with the big news for this week, we all know it's coming. What do you think about that verdict?
Hey, man. My man had it coming.
Do you
did wrong.
Do you think that the charges were correct? All three?
Well, let's be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I honestly think the man deserves to get locked up forever.
Forever?
Forever.
You think he killed him?
I do.
Yeah.
I believe that there was a significant factor in his death contributed to that officer. And the only reason I'm looking at it from that perspective is because of the level of force that was used.
Did you watch the trial?
I watched some of it, and it was getting. I couldn't watch it all because it does get emotional, and I don't. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I really don't want to get down that road. Okay. But so the idea that there were drugs in the system that could have contributed to his loss of oxygen and breathing. Mm-hmm. We know that was there. We also know that this man was detained and on his face with his hands handcuffed behind his back. Even if he was loud, it did not seem necessary that a knee was needed to be placed on his neck for as long as it was, which could have also contributed to the loss of life. I don't know. I'm not a forensic scientist. I'm not the coroner. That's a whole different level of expertise. I can only go off of knowing what kind of force is necessary, which is what we've been trained on and specialized in, use of force. Utilizing the least amount of force necessary to gain control, right?
Absolutely.
From what I saw, even with him shouting and whatnot and on his stomach in cuffs, hands behind his back, there's not much he can do but shout. No. So I do not believe that further control was necessary by having a knee nailed on his neck in that aspect.
I agree with that.
Also, he did say that he was on drugs and that he had trouble breathing prior to him getting out of or being taken out of the police cruiser. Mm-hmm. So with that, we know for a fact that laying somebody on their straight back or on their stomach could be bad because it can constrict the breathing. We already know that. That's basic first aid, especially if you have shallow breathing. Yep. So by keeping him held down in that aspect can also contribute to death. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a coroner or whatnot. Yep. Can also contribute to his death. So yes, moving him, because what you're supposed to do is move him into the recovery position. Move him into the recovery position, and while the female that's recording this is, they're telling him you need to get off of his neck and whatnot. That's causing further stress to him while he's screaming. His neck is being knelt on. He can already having trouble breathing due to the drugs that are in his system. That does not mean that he deserves to die.
No,
but that also. But that adrenaline rushing and you shallow breathing and getting worked up is going to cause you to get yourself to a point where you're not able to breathe, and it's going to cut off blood flow and oxygen to your brain, and eventually you end up brain dead and then you die.
Yeah.
So we know these things that are true. I believe that the officer's actions contributed to that man's death. I do not believe that the officer was intentionally trying to kill this man, But I do believe that the officer is fucking stupid and didn't try to save him either, or try to help him. So maybe murder, not much, but manslaughter.
Yeah. See, I
don't believe the officer went in. I don't know. I do know he has a history of excessive force, but I don't know that his intentions were to kill George Floyd.
See, I agree with most of what you said. I don't think that he intentionally killed George Floyd. I think George Floyd intentionally killed himself by the drugs that he took in. I don't think he helped. I don't believe he was guilty of murder in third or second degree. I believe he's guilty of manslaughter. For negligence, absolutely.
Negligence, manslaughter, yep. I can definitely see that. But I believe with excessive force being used in other aspects, like on a 14-year-old kid, that's...
No, I understand. And like I said, I don't agree. I'm not defending him, all right? I'm not saying that he should have gotten off, right? He's a horrible person for doing that, for not rendering aid. I don't agree with what he did. I wouldn't have done that. Right, but like I said, I don't believe he intentionally killed George Floyd. I believe it was negligence in the highest degree, total disregard for human life, in my opinion.
And that kind of contradicts the statement I made earlier about having a partner, because his partner didn't stop him either.
Well, I mean, from what I understand, right, you had 3 other officers there, and then you had a crowd of, I believe it was about 8 people or so.
Yeah, but the crowd is not allowed to interject and help at any means, because then they can be killed for... History will show if they interject themselves.
You got 4 officers and 8 people.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Yes, they could.
It only takes one shot for people to back the fuck off.
No, I understand that, and I understand that, right? But in that situation, yes, I do believe that the other 3 officers should have said, "Hey, man, maybe you should get off of this dude," right? But at the same time, I understand that they was doing crowd control. From what I understand. Maybe. I don't know.
Crowd control.
I understand the crowd was getting rowdy, right? Right.
Crowd control when a man has his hands in his pockets or whatnot.
Right, at that point, you got 7 other people around you and 3 guards trying to say, hey, man, you need to back up.
My hands wouldn't be in my pockets, looking as if I don't care. My hands are going to be ready.
I'm not talking about Chauvin. I'm talking about the other 3 guys.
Yeah, right? You're right. But I mean, look at the Asian cop?
I don't know what his name is.
I don't remember his name, but his attitude towards when he was being questioned didn't seem as if he was really doing crowd control. Other than
maybe I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know.
I can only go off of the video I saw.
From what I understand, from what I saw, right? I understand, right? You got several other people in the crowd, right? Like I said, I don't agree with Chauvin, what he did. I do think he should go to prison. I don't think he was guilty of all 3 charges.
No,
I believe manslaughter of the highest degree.
Here's what I think. Here's why I think the verdict came out with murder. Because he was a horrible person, I believe that the jury felt he needs to be put away forever. Because manslaughter charges would have gotten him, and it would have been long.
I think it would have been 10 years. I think.
Yeah, but eventually he would have been able to walk the street again. I think they didn't want him on the street again, so they went with murder only for the simple cause that I'm not in the deliberating room and I didn't watch the entire trial. Mm-hmm. I didn't have all of the evidence presented before me.
Bits and pieces
so it's hard for me to say specifically why and how the jury was persuaded to see or to make that decision. But based on the facts that I know to be true, maybe murder wasn't there. I don't believe that. I don't want to believe. Okay, it's not that I don't. I don't want to believe that Chauvin had it out for George Floyd and wanted to kill him on that day. Does that make sense? Because that would be murder.
Yeah,
right?
I like I said, I don't think he went there with the intention to murder him. I don't think that he knelt on his neck intentionally trying to murder this dude. Like I said, I do believe that it was manslaughter, gross negligence, disregard for human life, all that crap. But like I said, I don't believe he murdered George Floyd. I think it was a culmination of a bad shit.
It's hard to say because I'm not in that man's head. I'm not in that man's head, so I really don't know what it was going through him when he said or when he did what he did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do know what facts were presented by either video evidence and bits and pieces of the trial that I saw. I just feel like the jury did not want that man to walk the street ever again, and that's why the decision was made for murder as opposed to manslaughter.
I mean, I got my different opinions on on why they chose to
go
all three charges.
I want to hear what you think on why they.
I personally believe that they didn't want more riots in the streets, right? I personally believe that with the president coming out a couple of days before saying that he hopes the jurors decides right, with Maxine Waters going in the street saying that protesters need to be more confrontational.
That the jury had pressure.
I believe the jury was pressured into giving a
very specific verdict.
Yes, and I'm not saying that is what happened. I'm just saying this is what it looks like to me. Like I've already said, for those of you out there, I know what this looks like, right?
He's not a racist. He's just looking objectively.
No, I in my opinion, I think both with the president and Maxine Waters saying what they're saying, they gave good grounds for jury tampering and an eventual appeal.
Yeah, I don't know if the jury all heard the comments that were made by those individuals.
From what I understand, that they was only sequestered for the last couple of days, so maybe.
Yeah, but those are the most crucial days too. Decisions have to be made.
And I personally believe, I think the trial should have been held in a different city. I don't think the jurors should have been from Minneapolis, and I personally think the jurors should have been sequestered the whole time.
The issue with that is that level of trial would have to go to the Supreme Court, which is done by the U.S. Supreme Court, which is done by federal judges.
No, I understand that, but
jury. So, because this was happening within the state, you have to utilize the state.
No, I mean I get it, but
our justice system needs work.
I agree.
Our justice system needs work. But but because it is a certain way, we're going to utilize a jury of your peers from that area who I know. I get it because it seemed like, well, the jury's coming from this area. The decision's already been made.
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
I like I said, I personally
How do you pick a jury for a case like that?
I don't know. Anyway. So I like I said, I don't care if it had to go to the Supreme Court. I don't care. I think with this national level of media surrounding this case and what could happen either way, right? I think that this is what needed to be happen. I don't care if the city of Minneapolis, they got all that money since they defunded the police, they can move them out to a different state, whatever.
Do you think that because of the verdict, this was an example to be made in the future for what could happen, and decisions to be made moving forward? Do you think, do you think this was done as an example?
I do. Like I said, I believe that this was giving the people what they want, right? Because this made such a big headline that everybody wanted to see this dude behind bars,
right? And it was national.
And what happened for the 12, 14 months beforehand, waiting for the trial. I think the jury decided this way so they wouldn't face the repercussions of going the other way.
Now, the question is now what happens next, because the sentencing is scheduled for 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. 8 weeks out. Sentencing.
Well,
so, like, we know what sentencing is pretty much going to be.
Yep.
I don't think he's going to even serve a portion of that sentence. I think he's going to be... You know what's going to happen.
In prison rules, man.
Prison law takes over. Prison justice. It is what it is.
Absolutely.
We know, I'm not going to say specifics, but we know what prison justice is.
Yeah.
And so, I regardless if it was manslaughter charges in 10 years, I think prison justice was going to take hold regardless.
Yeah.
So I think by giving the verdict the way that they did to alleviate riots and things like that. It's possible that it's possible he was charged with murder because they wanted to alleviate further riots, right? Yeah. So because they already knew prison justice was going to take hold regardless if it was 10 years or life. Does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying.
It's possible.
Yeah, like I said, in my opinion, because I feel the way I feel about what had happened, I think they charged him fully to avert what could have happened, right? And I
the outcome might be the same regardless of whether he was charged with 1 year to 10 to life. You know what I mean? So why not alleviate further damage to your city?
No, I understand that, but at the same time, if you do that, if you charge somebody with stuff that they're not guilty of, right? Justice is no longer blind.
How often? Yeah, but how often are people charged with shit that they're not really guilty of? Let's be honest.
It happens quite a bit, to be honest.
It really does.
It really does, and it's unfortunate. And I agree with you. Our justice system needs work. I completely 100% agree with that. But at the same time, people need to have trust in the system.
We don't. Yeah, but see, and we don't know specifically why the jury came. I mean, they made their decision based off the evidence that was presented before them, and they had to be unanimous. So it's
we're gonna finish this up right here. So, regardless of how we feel about the case, regardless of whether or not we got the outcome that we wanted to get or not, right? No matter what you feel, this is what was decided, right? You gotta accept it, because even if it was charged the other way around, right? We have to accept it. This is what the court decided. This is what the rule of law is for.
And we have to trust in the system.
Regardless, we can still make changes to the system. We can still adjust the system and then revisit the issue later. But at the end of the day, we gotta accept what was and then use what we can to fight for what we believe. Does that make sense?
I want to say something to add on to that. The problem is that our current system, we know it needs changes. Mm-hmm. And people are tired of our current system. It hasn't necessarily worked for the benefit of a lot of people, because history will show the same crime being conducted within the same area, city, or whatnot by two totally different people and getting drastically different charges. So it's hard to trust in the system when sometimes it's looked at as the system is designed to cater towards others. And this was a situation where it wasn't looked like that from the minority community.
And we can get into that topic. That's like a 3-hour long conversation that we can have right there, just about the system itself. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to be here till 10 o'clock at night.
I mean, I'm going to be here till 10 o'clock.
Yeah, but I'm not. So we're going to talk about that later, because I got some thoughts on that.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, this is what we got. We can fight to make changes. We do that by voting for policies. We do that by voting for people, right? Like I said, you got to look at what the people's actions, right? Because that's going to tell you. People can blow steam in your ear all day long, but at the end of the day, people are going to do what people are going to do.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, people are going to think what they want to think by either their biases or how they're brought up and whatnot. Mm-hmm. At the end of their day, we as a people have to understand that we have to look out for one another and just do better. We have to be better.
Absolutely.
And I think this is the biggest problem. Regardless of what has happened to other people in the past, happened to you in the past, or that you witnessed in the past, the only way for us to do better moving forward is to identify what happened and want to be better, and by actually doing better.
And the way that we identify what has happened and what is currently happening is by looking at objectively, looking at the facts. Looking at the facts. Not how you feel about certain.
Say that again. The
facts. The facts.
Facts.
Right. Right? Not feelings, not how it looks, not what the media is pushing to you. Looking at the straight facts.
Shit, we talked all last week about the fucking media and how they're manipulating people. You know, the media is going to really push a narrative.
Absolutely, and I believe everybody's aware of what narrative they're trying to push. But at the end of the day, that's not what matters. What matters is the facts, right? So if you look at the facts, you can determine for yourself, and you can interpret those facts however you see fit. But the facts aren't going to change.
No, you're absolutely right. Facts are that. They're facts.
Yep.
This is what happened.
And regardless,
and it's that's what people need to focus on is what happened.
Yeah,
not necessarily how I feel about what happened, but just what happened.
Yeah, and regardless of what happened, you know, in the past, everybody knows that it was a bad thing what happened in the past, right? But look at how far we've come, and yes, we got more work to do. I agree with that, but to hold the past to our current standard is impossible, and to push the sins of the past onto people in the right now is completely wrong. And I don't agree with it, and I think that is completely wrong for our country. It goes down a bad road.
Not just our country, but the world in general. Yeah. You know, we
the past will never uphold to the standards of today, no matter.
No matter what. I mean, in today's world is completely different than it was 100 years ago.
Yep.
It's a completely different world. I mean, if you would have told somebody 100 years ago that we'd be walking around with a supercomputer in your pocket where you can have instant access to anything that you need, they look at you like a fucking fool and call you a witch and try to get you killed. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. You know, so like you have to take on what happened in the past and learn from it to create a better opportunity for the future,
and not try to erase the past, right?
No. Identify it.
Yeah, because regardless of what happened in the past isn't going to change no matter how many books you change.
Yeah, it's already happened.
No matter how many statues you pulled on, the past is still the past. Learn from it, acknowledge what happened in the past, and then move forward so you don't repeat history.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Do not repeat history because history has a sense of repeating itself.
Absolutely.
It really does. The greatest empires all fall within the same reason. And so we're kind of heading towards that, that same exact trend that happened to the Roman Empire and the British Empire and so on.
I was just going to say about that. But I think you guys have listened to us talk enough about these topics, so we appreciate you listening.
I think the people like listening to us talk.
I mean, as much as I would like to believe that.
No, you're absolutely right. We got to wrap this up anyway. So
last shout out to everybody listening. We thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for all your support. Thank you guys for everything that you do. Trust me, it doesn't go unnoticed. We see the messages. We see the likes, the shares. We appreciate it deeply. We wouldn't be able to do this stuff without you guys' support. So we appreciate
absolutely. It. So real quick, before I cut this live stream, just wanted to give you guys a further update for the plan moving forward with All in a Day's Work. We've actually filed the legal rights and paperwork to move this from just a podcast and a group to become an actual nonprofit organization.
Hey.
So be on the lookout for that moving forward. We wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for your guys' support. And the idea we had originally was to help out and be a voice for the veteran community.
Hell yeah.
And so by becoming an actual nonprofit organization, I'm building a team. I've already started. I added Ryan and Ellie to our team. Shout out to both of them. They're going to be helping us moving forward with not just the technical portions, but actually the movement we're doing. So I'm building a team, and I can use your help. So if you want to be part of the All in a Day's Work crew or team to some aspect or degree, let us know. Hit us up, and we can work with you because becoming a nonprofit is a huge deal. And again, we tell you guys all the time, we're not doing this to become famous. We're not doing this for the money. We're not getting any money. I'm spending money.
You're Facebook famous, though.
We're not doing this for the amount of likes or to even, for you guys to feel sorry. We just want to be a voice for the veteran community, and we want to help out the community. So I I kind of mentioned on this last week, but a big project we're working on is helping out the homeless veterans, which is a crisis.
Yeah.
It sickens me to see somebody who has served and fought for our country living on the streets, especially those of which who are not just hooked on drugs and are boozers.
Yeah.
There are a lot more of them out there that just have been really hard on their luck, no family, nowhere to go, and they on the streets, not hooked on drugs. They just cannot get a step forward. Yep. Those are the ones in the stories I want to share and help them. We talk about PTSD all the time. Well, not all the time, but we talk about PTSD and mental health. We talk about rehabbing from injuries. But who's out there helping our homeless veterans or the incarcerated veterans or service members who get out and don't have anywhere to go? Mm-hmm. Who's talking and helping them and getting their stories out there? Nobody. So this is why we started this movement and this project. So be on the lookout. We could use your help. Again, we thank you. We love you. Continue to like and share our videos. And hit us up. We hear your comments. We hear your messages. We see them every day.
Yep.
Every day. So let us know. We're here for you guys. We want to be that voice for you. So let us know. I'm no better than anybody out there. He's no better. I put my pants on the same way you do. Yeah, one leg at a time.
I have this weird self-esteem issue where I hate myself. I still think I'm better than everybody.
But you still put your pants on one leg at a time, right? You ain't jumping into them motherfuckers.
I don't think I'm better than anybody.
Bullshit. Anyways, everybody, we love you. Stay safe. Until next time, please. We'll see you soon. Again, thank you for watching, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.